Alright, today we're going to jump back into the Bitcoin price action as well as the altcoin market, as well as some indices in the stock market and the DXY. Now, before we do jump into this, I got to remind you guys that limited time offer that I had to get my VIP Discord at just $20 for the first month is going to run out in 4 days. So if you're at all interested, if you think I do some good TA, if you want to learn some stuff from me about leveraged trading, I am trying to provide as much value as possible in that Discord. So go ahead, click that second link in the description down below. Use code EAGLE and come join us. We're having our weekly meeting tomorrow if you want to go talk to me there. But yeah, that is specifically for people trying to learn to leverage trade. If you're just investing in the market, whatever, just join my normal Discord. Top link in the description down below. That is completely free. And we are just about to hit 300 members. So come join the community. But let's go ahead and jump into the Bitcoin price action now. Talking about this pullback we're having on the charts. We had talked about maybe we don't have a pullback because when Bitcoin likes to get impulsive, it doesn't like to really pull back. But we had known 64,500 was a big support resistance flip level, and we had talked about this wick we made during the weekend. The reason I had said don't short any of this stuff is because that happened during the weekend, so you knew that was going to get swept if it was bearish, and we did have a bearish swing failure of the level. So you had a technical and structural edge to actually take a short after this happened, and it could have been a warning sign after failing that auction that we were going to pull back. You go over here to Trading Light to look at the order flow, to look at the footprint chart, and you do see lots of Bitcoin being opened into long positions at the top of this wick, getting absorbed by these big sell walls, indicating that a top was likely to come in and you were likely not to retest this level unless you were truly bullish, because if this is truly a failed auction, you should not untrap these traders that were FOMOing into the market. And after getting back under TPO value area high and pixel perfect rejection off of that, that was your warning sign that this low could likely break, and we were going to go ahead and actually sweep some lower levels, maybe fill these imbalances. We had talked about, we have big inefficiencies on the chart here, so this is going to act as big support potentially. That's at 62,300 to 62,700-ish. So we've got that, and we're already starting to close out a lot of our long positions. You see the open interest decreasing. I'm sure there was a lot of positions piling on within this area. You see some longs coming up into these highs, a lot of longs right here. People were FOMOing in, likely not to get away with that. So these quick flushes to go ahead and sweep this range before continuing on up makes a lot of sense. But I will say it's still time to be cautious in the market. Structure is still bearish on the macro, right? We've got macro lower highs, and although my base case remains sweep of all-time highs, grab that liquidity even in the worst case scenario before plumbing into the bear market, there is always the chance this is still a bearish retracement. So don't think it's not impossible that we can fail. But I will say the fact that we're above this daily EMA, the fact that we have this mid-channel trend that we've gotten above, the fact that we have big imbalances and volume levels below us now, there's a clear support that we should be holding. So if we are to come back down, it's a very clear area where we should bounce off of. We should not be accepting back into this previous range. So this will be the warning sign, right? If we get back under and then back test this previous range's resistance, this would be a big warning sign. But as of right now, this is just a bullish pullback as far as I'm concerned. Just retracing those inefficiencies in the chart, especially, when you do have a lot of longs opening during the weekend, makes some sense to pull back. Nothing really too concerning in my opinion. I would just say, stay cautious in the markets. We don't want to see it reclaiming these previous ranges. We definitely just want a quick wick down to flush out those long positions before the continuation up on higher, especially when you do have stuff like the altcoin market hitting a critical support resistance flip level. We had talked about down here that even in the worst case scenario, I expected the altcoin market to come up, test this volume as resistance before tumbling into the bear market. So could this bearish scenario still be playing out? Yes, absolutely. That's why when we were up here, I said, if you are a mega bear in the market, if you did think the top was in for Bitcoin, this is where you wanted to sell, and I think you would have a valid case to do so. I'm, of course, more bullish. I think we are going to reclaim this. I think that we are going to have a bigger altcoin season into a euphoric point in the market where Bitcoin does make all-time highs. I still think the tops come in 2024, but I think it'll be later on towards election season, because election season normally puts out some pretty good gains in the stock market as well as the crypto markets. So what I'm looking at now for the altcoin market is to just test this value area high we had talked about. We don't really want to be losing this, but a bullish back test of value area high makes a whole lot of sense. You could even come down to point of control. So something like this also wouldn't be too bad either. We just don't want to get under the point of control and reject that as resistance. This, again, that would be a pretty big warning sign to me. So far, so good though. A little bit of a shakeout, a little bit of a flush on those late long positions. We had some big resistance, so a small pullback from a big point like that makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's anything too concerning. But once again, just stay vigilant in the markets. Anything is possible. Let's talk about the S&P real quick, because we're finding some resistance here as is expected. If you're having crypto going down, likely the S&P is also confluencing with that. And we do see, we have rejected this futures gap to the upside here. So definitely a point where you would likely find some resistance, but it's definitely nothing too concerning because none of this structurally looks like a very good high in my opinion. You're now building liquidity behind all of this stuff in the S&P, and this is very likely to get grabbed, especially when we are holding this nice bullish structure of higher highs, higher lows. You can see over here in the actual futures chart, we're back under this value area high that we had been talking about. So we'll continue to watch these previous range volume levels, and we should now actually pull current range volume levels as well. And you can see the value area low now comes in right around where this point of control is. So let's see if we can hold kind of the 55.75 level here on the S&P 500. I do still think this is going to structurally hold for a burst up into a higher high on the S&P, make a new all-time high actually. And these quick flushes are once again just getting rid of those late long positions of people FOMOing in, trying to front run that breakout into all-time highs. So base case still remains the same here, kind of one more burst up to make that final high before we do roll over into a recession. Probably daily RSI divs, something like that on the chart would be very likely at that point. And this is where Bitcoin also has its distribution at all-time highs, like I've been talking about, something like that before we do enter the recession that I do think is probably going to happen just based on inverted yield curve, the rate cuts coming up, as well as unemployment rates. But we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and talk about some more of these indexes though. The Russell 2000, we're finding some resistance here at a place you would expect to find resistance, this macro point of control from the 2021 bull market range, right? This is a fixed range volume profile of this range here. You actually see on the 4-hour time frame it pulls a different level. So let me actually pull this out. And you do see that on the 4-hour time frame it gives us a little bit of a different volume level within here. So yeah, these volume profiles aren't 100% accurate on TradingView because you will go to a different time frame. Like if I look at this on a daily, and it will give me a higher volume level. So right, it'll tell me the point of control is now right here where I had it, or right there. So definitely it's a bit arbitrary, but you get the point. Point of control is right around here where we're finding resistance. So we'll see if this does actually retrace all the way back down to value area low before heading up, or if this can just be a quick fake out and then resumption back above point of control before continuing up. If we can get the Russell to go into all-time highs, this is of course going to make altcoin season feasible because of course risk on assets in the stock market going crazy would correlate to risk on assets in crypto, also probably getting a lot of momentum. Lastly, let's talk about the DXY because I think we got some really good confluences here for a continuation on Bitcoin, on crypto, on S&P, and it's simply because support has clearly been broken on the dollar. These were our macro support levels. If you go back here on the daily time frame, you can see we have been continuing to hold these levels throughout this range, and now that we are under this convincingly, you would expect if we are truly bearish that price would actually rally back up, but it would backtest this as resistance. So this is an important level to watch. Let's see if this is just a quick relief rally on the dollar before rejecting our low end range as resistance. And after this rejection is when we could see the full force of money flowing into risk on assets when we do start heading into no man's land for the dollar, assuming this is to play out. So we'll continue to watch this. Let's see if we actually do have the rejection, right? We don't really necessarily want to reclaim this support because this asset is inversely correlated with Bitcoin, but so far so good. Just looks like a normal correction in my opinion for crypto, a normal release rally for the dollar. S&P just continuing to flush a little bit before breaking into all-time highs. Price actions just flushing a lot of these people FOMOing back into the market at the highs. Pretty normal to see, nothing to really worry about. But of course, nothing is guaranteed, so we don't want to get back under this big supportive level. Only time will tell what's actually going to play out here. I'm of course keeping my case the same. I think all-time highs is about to be hunted, and we have some pretty exciting times ahead of us. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. VIP Discord is below that I talked about at the beginning of this video, and below that are my exchange partners. So go ahead and check out some of those exchanges. They offer each individual perks such as non-KYC, non-VPN, different exclusive limited time events for people that sign up using my referral link. So don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.